Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Another weekend of being half right in football. I want to talk about what I learned from this weekend because I made some observations that I wasn't aware of before, and it reminded me of some of the basics about the NFL. There's a common phrase in the NFL, it's a quarterbacks league. And this weekend, I was very much reminded of that. I'm going to get into it. So let's begin with the Patriots and Ravens. Joe Flacco versus Tom Brady. The final score of this game was 35 to 31, and this score happened with about 5.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The Patriots took the lead. The Patriots made a major rally in this game if you didn't watch. They were down big early. Once Tom Brady took the lead and they were kicking the extra point, the camera panned to him on the sidelines, and he'd already taken his shoes off, and he just looked super relaxed on the bench. He looked like it was game over. And I was just trying to put myself in these shoes. I mean, he is an NFL veteran and he's won Super Bowls, so it's hard to read him or put yourself in his shoes. But he just looks so calm. He looks so flat. He looks so relaxed. And really, I mean, if he's passionate about the game, if he's into the game, I just expected something different in his makeup. And as it happened, the score did finish here. There was no more scoring in the game. Joe Flacco ended up throwing a interception in the end zone. Game over. And the final was 35 to 31, which sums to 66. Recall this is a very important number in the NFL. In Jewish gematria, NFL sums to 66. The first Super Bowl was in the year 66. Important number. Also, making matters more curious, they won with 35 points. Why is this interesting? Let me show you, Truth Seeker. I did this post. You can come here and see it on my blog. Easy to find. Tom Brady in Pythagorean gematria. The name Tom is 12, Brady is 23. Put it together, Tom Brady equals 35. He also has a life number of 35. 8 plus 3 plus 1 plus 9 plus 7 equals 35. And they won by a score of 35 to 31. So very curious numerology in this game. Let's go back to the box scores. It wasn't just it for Tom Brady. We saw it also with another quarterback in another very curious game. Here in the Seahawks-Panthers game, Russell Wilson and the Seahawks advanced over the Panthers. This game was interesting because it featured the only two teams in NFL history, the Seattle Seahawks and the Carolina Panthers, to enter the playoffs with a losing record. Look above and notice that the Panthers' record is 7-8-1, a losing record. They made the playoffs. The Seahawks did it a few years back with a 7-9 record. So Seahawks advanced. They're in the NFC Championship at home. They've never lost before at their home stadium. Yet to happen. They've never lost there in the playoffs. In the playoffs. Important distinction. Also, the Patriots, who are the one seed in the AFC, will be at home for the AFC Championship. So both the one seeds advanced to the conference championships this year. They'll both be hosting at home. Okay, Truth Seeker. Now here's where it got even more curious. This game, Cowboys-Packers, was touted as Ice Bowl 2. Ice Bowl 2. The first Ice Bowl happened 47 years ago. 47 years ago, a very important number in the NFL. The NFL was established in the year, the first Super Bowl came in the 47th season of the NFL. The 47th season was the first Super Bowl. That was the year 66. The first two Super Bowls, the winner of the Cowboys and Packers advanced to. In both years, the Packers defeated the Cowboys to advance to the first two Super Bowls, where they defeated the Chiefs and the Raiders. Look at this. Here we are with the Packers defeating the Cowboys by a score of 26 to 21. The sum of this score is 47. Just like the 47-year anniversary of the Ice Bowl. Making matters more interesting, Aaron Rodgers, like Tom Brady, has a life number of 26. Recall, Tom Brady's was 35. 3 plus 5 equals 8. Aaron Rodgers is 26, his life number. 2 plus 6 equals 8. So, and the Packers won with a score of 26. The Patriots won with a score of 35. All right, Truth Seekers. So also in the divisional round, the Colts advanced over the Broncos in what was considered an upset. Vegas had Broncos by 7.5 points. They ended up losing by 11. The word luck has a numerology of 11. Luck in Pythagorean gematria looks just like this, Truth Seeker. L's the 12th letter, it becomes 3. U's the 21st, 2 plus 1 becomes 3. C's the 3rd. And K is the 11th. It can remain 11 or become 1 plus 1 equals 2. If you do luck this way, the word sums to 11. And possibly a coincidence, possibly not. This was a very important game for NFL fans, especially that of the Colts. The Colts formerly had Peyton Manning, now the quarterback of the Broncos, before Andrew Luck came. And, just more signs of the scripted league, Truth Seeker. Think about how hard the Colts tanked to get Andrew Luck. And then in that draft, they said, wow, what a lucky team. They drafted the 2 best quarterbacks out of college possibly ever, Peyton Manning and now Andrew Luck. I mean, it's just ridiculous, Truth Seeker. I don't know how anyone's fooled by any of these shenanigans. It's a bunch of nonsense. I predicted after week 3 that the Colts would defeat the Broncos in the AFC Championship. Instead, they defeated them in the divisional round. Now, Andrew Luck must travel to New England to face Tom Brady. So think about this. If I'm right and Andrew Luck is scripted to make the Super Bowl, the narrative now is that he went to Denver and beat his old boss, a living legend, considered to be one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, even though he stinks it up in the playoffs oh so much. Did you know that yesterday was the 9th time in Peyton Manning's career he was one and done in the playoffs? One and done. And look at his box score. Not a very good game. Not a very good game for that many attempts. Throw the ball nearly 50 times and have 200 passing yards. It's not good, Truth Seeker. It's because he stinks it up in the playoffs. And in the regular season, I swear the defensive backs must be scripted to go easy. It just doesn't make any sense when you watch Peyton Manning. Never has. It's all to me, this is how I saw that the league was scripted before I knew how to read the numbers. You could just see something was going on that didn't make any sense. Anyhow, Andrew Luck beats his old boss, and now where is he? He's in New England to face Tom Brady. Sports writers say he's possibly the greatest QB of all time. It's just a joke, Truth Seeker. I'm telling you, this guy, his whole career has been scripted. Think about it. He's gotten new rules made for him. He emerged right after September 11th. Just a joke. And then in this recent game, Mr. Life number 35, named 35, scores 35 to win. Then goes and takes his shoes off and relaxes over on the sidelines, probably ready to see Giselle. It's because he knew it was over. You guys who don't think the players are in on it, I don't think they're all in on it, but I think the big ones are, like the QB, like the guy who has the headset on that's getting all this communication from Boost, coaches. There's just so much room for manipulation. Those of you who question how it could possibly happen, just use your own minds and imagination. It's not that difficult. It wouldn't be that hard to tell the QB he has to throw a pick 6 right here. I don't know how many of you guys have played sports. I'm not just some geek who does numbers. I played a lot of sports growing up. I can actually throw a football. I can catch a football. I can run. I'm an athlete too. Not an NFL athlete, but I know how to play the game. I can imagine how these things could all be done. Money, Truth Seeker. Money corrupts. These guys are paid big dollars. To think that they'd sell out their fans is not really that hard of a thing to fathom. We have politicians who sell the whole country out every day. You don't think some athletes are going to go out there and sell us out too? You just got to think, Truth Seeker. All right, so let's look at what's left. Andrew Luck in New England to face Tom Brady. He's being touted as quite possibly the best young QB ever. He might be the greatest of all time by the time it's said and done. A legacy like this, going in and beating Manning on the road, then beating Brady on the road to go to the Super Bowl, that will be a legacy builder. Even if he didn't win in the Super Bowl, that would give more credence to his name, a name that's already been built up by the mainstream since he was at Stanford in college. Meanwhile, in the NFC, we have a matchup between what I've always seen as two teams with different logos. I've always thought the Seahawks and the Packers were somehow the same team behind the scenes under the same ownership. They swap a lot of players. It was Marshawn Lynch who was allowed to pass the Packers waivers at the time after the Buffalo thing that allowed him to go to the Seahawks. The Green Bay Packers could have had Marshawn Lynch years ago, but they chose to forego it, and the Seahawks got him. Couldn't have happened without the Packers. And there's lots of backdoor things like this between teams. I also think the Seahawks have a relationship with the Jets. They trade a lot of players with them, from Leon Washington to Percy Harvin to more. I mean, the whole league's really just one big cabal. So, anyhow, this game will be interesting because it also brings back up, in this post I wrote about it, it brings back up the Fail Mary, which happened on September 24th. 9 plus 24 is 33. Date with interesting numerology. Also, look at the sum of this game. 12 plus 14, 26. God number again. The Seahawks won on a very controversial play. It was argued about in sports media for weeks. The league decided to maybe clarify some rules. I have a feeling this storyline is going to come up during the course of the NFC Championship game this coming weekend because of just what a big incident was, and also because the same teams are going to be playing at the same location. It would be interesting if there's another major controversial call that decides the game. I also want to point out right here this name Pete Carroll. You guys, more proof. For those of you who are commenting on my videos because I'm getting things wrong, you're also ignoring all the things that I've been pointing out that are right and very suspicious. When Pete Carroll became the coach of the Seahawks, he entered with a record of 33 wins and 31 losses. 33 and 31. Like the ranging degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. He got all these wins and losses with the Patriots and Jets. And I just talked about how the Seahawks seem to have a backdoor relationship with the Jets as well. He replaced Jim Mora Jr., who left with a career record of 31 wins, 33 losses. Also the ranging degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. Just reversed. These things are not coincidences. It's because the league is a script that they can even organize it this well. It's how it's done. Recall, the Seahawks are one of 3 teams with a gematria of 33, and they were established in the year 74. Most Seahawk fans don't even know that. They were established in 74, joined the league in 76. 2 very Masonic numbers as well. This is a Freemason-controlled, owned, and operated league through and through. And that is the main point of these posts. Just because my predictions are wrong does not mean that I'm wrong, that numerology is a major part of the outcomes of these games. Even between being wrong, I'm exposing how I'm also right. So that is what I want you guys to see. Yes, I'm going to be wrong along the way. I've said this before I even started making sports predictions. I'm not afraid to be wrong. I'm not trying to be wrong to mislead you. In being wrong, we can learn from my mistakes. It seems that if there's any lesson to be learned here, it's that there's more layers you have to consider to make these projections than just what I've done so far by looking at schedules, dates, and history. You also have to consider quarterbacks, it seems, because the quarterbacks seem to be weighing heavily on the outcomes of the games. And this goes back to Super Bowl 3, when Joe Namath predicted that he would defeat, what's-his-face, the guy that went on to be the coach of the Dolphins, and that's exactly what happened. Calling out quarterbacks saying what's going to happen. It might be because these guys know the script. It might be why they're the highest paid players on the team. True Seeker, I also want to tell you something from my personal life. If you don't know this, the second highest paid position on an NFL football team is the left tackle. The position that plays or protects the quarterback. So essentially it's a further investment in the quarterback. Your left tackle is going to protect your quarterback. Unless he's left-handed, then it's your right tackle. But anyhow, left tackle. I happen to have gone to high school with a left tackle who's been in the league for the last decade for the Tennessee Titans. He was hurt this year. His name is Michael Roos. I want to tell you about this man. Growing up with him, going to school with him, he was always someone, I didn't really know him, I just went to school with him. He was a massive person, an incredible athlete, a scholar, and just an all around great attitude. And, he just almost seemed like too perfect of a human being. You know, very smart, massive, super talented, never caused problems with anyone, always very friendly. He also happens to be someone with a 33 name, something I've been pointing out in these sports. My point is these Manchurian athletes, they are bred to be, they are paid big money, and to cover up what is being covered up is entirely within the realm of plausibility. To laugh at this and say it's all ridiculous and couldn't be is to defy what is apparent. There's so much evidence of this from sports to beyond. And again, Truth Seeker, my research didn't start here with the sports. I realized how the sports overlapped with what I was finding in other research. And at the time, the connections just started to make sense. I thought about how sports are used as a major distraction and to keep people's eye off the ball and even off their own daily lives. It's an escape, and we live in a world where people are constantly seeking escape, from sports to drugs to shopping to consumerism to everything else. So I'm getting a little tangential here, Truth Seeker. To wrap it up, I'm still riding my boy Luck all season. I've had the most evidence that it was going to be him in the Super Bowl. I made some NFC picks that weren't right. In hindsight, looking back, it seems that the NFC teams were a field of teams with 49 relations. Washington, where Seattle is located, is the only state with 49 gematria. Green Bay has 49 connections because the color green is 49. We were saying how Dallas might fit in because of their connection to Ebola. I just want to point out that green has been the color of Ebola in our programming that we've been getting, so maybe there's also a connection there. Also, Wisconsin and Georgia are the only two states with 44 gematria, and I've been following the number 44 all year, so maybe there's a connection there with that. Tony Romo plays for Dallas, as who we just mentioned, the Cowboys. Dallas equals 49, Jerry Jones equals 49, Jason Garrett equals 49, and the Cowboys had a better season than they've had in a long time. They look like legit contenders this year. They had me believing. The Lions, their 49 connection wasn't so strong. Just that they played in their original division from 33 to 49. They had some other connections. That's why I picked them originally. It was 33 years since they hosted the Super Bowl, the only team with 33 to 1 odds. I saw that they were home team in a game in England, the first regular season game in the UK. I thought maybe that was something symbolic. Turns out it wasn't. And also Arizona, they're hosting Super Bowl 49. I left off the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are kind of like the Lions. They're the only team that plays on a 33-acre plot. Their owner is an open Freemason. They were in the playoffs last year. Cam Newton had that hoax story. His accident was on a date with a numerology of 35. The word Superman equals 35. He was smiling into the camera. All right, Truth Seeker. That wraps up these loose thoughts. Just remember, if the Super Bowl ends up being Packers versus Patriots, just remember these divisional scores that we talked about. With the life numbers and the scores. Rodgers scored 26 in the win. His life number's 26. Brady scored 35 in the win. His life number's 35. His name gematria is also 35. Of course, Packers won in a game where the score summed to 47 in a 47-year anniversary of the Ice Bowl, the game that it was a rematch of. Through and through, Truth Seeker. All right. Until next time.